Norma, I think we can
Yeah.
hear you now. Yeah.
You can?
Yes.
You're hearing me through my phone, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, that'll work. Okay, we can start again then. It's now 12:17. Okay, it's 12:17, and I will call the meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. I'm Norma Hutcheson, BEGA Chairperson, and due to COVID-19, this meeting is being held virtually via WebEx. Joining me today for this meeting are board members Charles Nottingham, Melissa Tucker, Felice Smith, and Darrin Sobin. Together, we constitute a quorum for the meeting. Since it was first posted, the meeting agenda has not been changed in any way. So I ask that you please review the agenda, and then I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, the board has adopted the agenda for today's meeting. Before us today are draft meeting minutes for our December 2nd, 2021 meeting and the December 13th, 2021 meeting. Please review those, and then I need a motion to consider the approval of these meeting minutes.
I have a quick question is for the 12 to 21 meeting minutes. And this is a question about whether or not something should be publicly reported. So I'm not going to refer to the name of it, but if people are looking at the minutes right now, the draft minutes, I draw your attention to item H under formal investigations, paragraph numerical 1, and it's 22-002. And I'm not going to mention the name yet until we resolve this, but I cannot recall whether or not the board voted to make this formal investigation public. It is a formal investigation, but I can't recall whether or not we voted to make it public. Does anybody have, and it's not so stated in the notes. Does anybody have a recollection as to whether or not we decided to make it public?
Let me see if I wrote that down. I have my notes from that meeting.
The board did vote to make that particular one public.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Other than that, I've reviewed it, and I'll move to adopt the minutes, both at the 12/2/21 and the 12/13 special meeting minutes.
Okay. Is there a second to Mr. Sobin's motion?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt, that we approve the meeting minutes from both the 12/2/21 and the 12/13/2021 meetings. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Okay, hearing none, the board approves the minutes from the 12/2/2021 and 12/13/2021 meetings. And next on our agenda is a report from the Office of Open Government. Director Allen will provide the report on behalf of the office and is appearing virtually via WebEx. Director Allen, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government. I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government, or OOG. Today is the one-year anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. I would like to acknowledge our brave DC and federal government colleagues who defended the U.S. Capitol on that day, some of whom are no longer with us. In 1966, the 34th President of the United States, Lyndon Johnson, when he signed the Freedom of Information Act into law, said the following when he signed the bill, stating, "I have always believed that freedom of information is so vital that only the national security, not the desire of public officials or private citizens, should determine when it must be restricted. It is in that spirit that we continue our work to ensure that our mission is fulfilled. And since the last board meeting, the OOG has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the district government and the actions of those who represent them. I'll start with Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act advice rendered by the office. Advisory opinions. Since the last board meeting, I issued 2 advisory opinions regarding the Open Meetings Act. The first is the advisory opinion regarding the DC Public Charter School Board. On January 4th, 2022, I issued advisory opinion number OOG-2021-002M 43021 concerning the District of Columbia Public Charter School Board's compliance with the Open Meetings Act. The complaint in that matter alleged the following Open Meetings Act violations. 1, that the DC Public Charter School Board failed to continuously make available for public inspection for 5 years public meeting notices of 7 board meetings as held in 2017 and 2018. 2nd, that the DC Public Charter School Board's public meeting records did not record important events, including board votes. And 3rd, that the DC Public Charter School Board public meeting records possibly omitted an entire meeting. Based on my investigation and analysis of the facts, I found that the DC Public Charter School Board's website did not include links to public meeting notices or meeting records for 7 meetings the DC Public Charter School Board held between October 18th, 2017 and October 31st, 2018, prior to the filing of the complaint. The OOG's March 2019 advisory opinion disposed of the allegations concerning the October 31st, 2018 meeting stated in the complaint. The allegations concerning all but the October 16th, 2017 and October 23rd, 2017 public meetings became moot once the DC Public Charter School Board republished the missing meeting notices. And 4th, once the issue became moot, the complaint allegations concerning all but the October 16th, 2017 and October 23rd, 2017 meetings were technical violations of the Open Meetings Act and harmless error that did not infringe upon the complainant's rights. 5th, the DC Public Charter School Board's failure to notice the public of canceled October 17th, 2017 meeting and the rescheduling of the meeting to October 23rd, 2017 violated the Open Meetings Act notice of meeting provisions. And 6th, the Open Meetings Act notice of meetings violations is not time barred. To ensure that all future DC Public Charter School meetings fully comply with the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, the Office of Open Government recommended the following for immediate implementation by the DC Public Charter School Board: that they adhere to the OMA and the DC School Reform Act's public notice requirements, and that they attend a Open Meetings Act training within 60 days of the issuance of this binding advisory opinion. The second advisory opinion issued was regarding the Historic Preservation Review Board. On January 6, 2022, I issued an advisory opinion number OOG-2021-007M81021. The complaint alleged that the Historic Preservation Review Board violated the records of meeting provision because the Historic Preservation Review Board's record of action summaries for its July 1st, 2021 and July 24th, 2021 public meetings differed from the findings and recommendations made during the public meetings. The complaint asked the Office of Open Government to investigate and issue formal findings and stay the Historic Preservation Review Board's decisions rendered on July 1st and July 24th, 2021. Prior to making the findings, I reviewed the July 1st, 2021 and July 22nd, 2021 public recordings and its corresponding record of action summaries. I reviewed the notes from OOG's October 6, 2021 meeting with the Historic Preservation Review Board and the DC Office of Planning to discuss the complaint and the Historic Preservation Review Board's regulation. I found that the record of action is a summary prepared by the Historic Preservation Review Board and is not required by the Open Meetings Act. The summaries are not meeting minutes or transcripts, nor does the Historic Preservation Review Board adopt the record of action into its official record. I found that the inconsistencies between the record of action summaries and the Historic Preservation Review Boards on the record findings made during the July 1st and July 24th meetings are permissible and are not a violation of the Open Meetings Act. I advise the complainant of my statutory authority, which does not permit me to stay a public body's proceedings, and that I would not take any court action on the matter. The next item are informal Open Meetings Act and FOIA advice rendered by the office. Since the last board meeting, OOG responded informally via email or telephone to requests for assistance as follows. OOG responded to 15 requests for Open Meetings Act advice, 12 requests for FOIA advice, and OOG responded to 31 requests for technical assistance with open-dc.gov. The next item are training and outreach. The first item is the 2021 COBLE, the Council on Government Ethics Laws virtual conference. COBLE is a professional organization for government agencies and other organizations, and they hosted a digital conference on December 6th through 8th, 2021. The conference focused on what's new in the fields of campaign finance, governmental ethics, elections, lobbying, and Freedom of Information Act. OOG staff and I attended the following webinars on December 6th, First Amendment free speech and constitutional rights, redistricting around the country, who's been naughty and who's been nice, Breaking Bad, ethics during a global pandemic and disasters, should ethics rules cover bad behavior. On December 7th, 2021, Police Under the Microscope, what role will transparency law play in law enforcement's future? FEC is back, baby, a moderated discussion between the FEC chair, Shana Broussard, and Vice Chair Alan Dickerson, a lobbyist conflict of interest in the role of the regulator, crisis communications basics, reflections of a 27-year communications professional, and December 8th, 2021, voters versus donors, whose rights matter when the courts consider the role of money in politics. The COBLE conference was originally planned to be held in Denver, Colorado, but was moved to a virtual conference due to the pandemic. We look forward to the conference being moved back to in-person sessions to provide our new BEGA staff with the opportunity to interface with their state government colleagues across the U.S. in person, which is a highlight of COBLE, as you know. For your training, the Department of Forensic Sciences. On December 7th, Attorney DeBerry presented a FOIA training for the Department of Forensic Sciences. The course focused on the basics of the FOIA process, and Chief Counsel Barton attended the training. Open Meetings Act training, the DC Retirement Board. On December 10th, Attorney DeBerry presented an Open Meetings Act training with the DC Retirement Board. The training course discussed the Open Meetings Act regulations and guidance for remote meetings. Chief Counsel Barton also attended this training. A meeting with the Mayor's Office of Legal Counsel. On December 3rd, I met with the Mayor's Office of Legal Counsel Director Eugene Adams and Assistant Director Vanessa Natali. We discussed FOIA appeals, the FOIA portal, which is FOIA Express, and FOIA officer training. They shared that they recently added a new staff member to handle and assist with the FOIA appeals backlog. Department of Human Resources Skillsoft Recipio trainings. On December 14th, 2021, IT specialist Kavan Bridges completed the following trainings: writing effective emails and instant messages, getting emails right series. The trainings focus on the importance of proper email communications. Skillsoft Recipio trainings. On December 16th, IT specialist Kavan Bridges also completed these trainings: organizing your emails, sending emails to the right people. These trainings also focus on the importance of the proper use of emails. Mayor's agency directors calls. On December 19th, 2021, Mayor Bowser held an emergency meeting for agency directors regarding the coronavirus surge in the District of Columbia. She provided a briefing on the increased infection rate in the district and requested that agency directors move staff to a accelerate work posture on a temporary basis to assist in reducing the incident of infection. 2021 BEGA FOIA report. On December 27th, Attorney DeBerry timely submitted BEGA's annual FOIA report. The District of Columbia agencies are required to submit a report to the mayor on their FOIA activities of the previous calendar year. The mayor transmits that report to the District of Columbia Council. BEGA processed 34 FOIA requests during fiscal year 2021 in a manner consistent with FOIA statutory requirements and as amended by the emergency and temporary legislation enacted during the public health emergency. A copy of the 2021 FOIA report is in the Dropbox FOIA review. Meeting with the Mayor's Office of General Counsel. On January 4th, 2022, I participated as a guest at the Mayor's General Counsel, Betsy Cavendish's staff meeting. I met her new legal staff and provided them with a briefing on open government issues. We discussed FOIA officer training, FOIA Express, and remote meetings. OOG will be collaborating with the Mayor's Office of General Counsel to provide training opportunities for FOIA officers in the future. And the next item is the legislation and litigation report. First is litigation. OOG is monitoring FOIA-related cases in DC Superior Court and the DC Court of Appeals. The agency is not a party to any of these lawsuits. As you know, I am providing this information for the board's awareness of litigation that may impact the operation and interpretation of DC FOIA law. The first case is to Mel Dubose, the Board of Dentistry, resumes, experts, complaints, and decisions. On January 20th, 2018, Mel Dubose sued the district under DC FOIA, seeking certain records from the DC Board of Dentistry and challenging the assessment of fees. This matter remains in the Court of Appeals. The court held oral argument on November 30th, and a disposition is pending. The next case is Washington Post lawsuit regarding requests arising out of the Capitol riot or insurrection. On June 23rd, 2021, the Washington Post legal entity, Washington Post Company, LLC, which I'll refer to as Post, sued the District and Superior Court for declaratory and injunctive relief. The Post alleges that between January 7th, 2021 and April 20th, 2021, it requested certain records from the district as follows: from the Executive Office of the Mayor, all messages sent by Mayor Bowser on her WhatsApp account and email account between January 5th and January 8th, 2021. From the Office of Unified Communications, all 911 recording, dispatch communications, and computer-aided dispatch entries related to the January 6, 2021 protest and subsequent riot at the U.S. Capitol, limited to 1st and 2nd Police Districts. From the Metropolitan Police Department, all audio, video, and written documents provided to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee or its representatives related to January 6, 2021 protests and riot at the U.S. Capitol. Also from MPD, video taken from fixed security camera that showed the protest and riot on January 6th. From MPD, audio and transcripts of audio between DC police officers and other law enforcement agencies on January 6th regarding the rally and subsequent riot at the U.S. Capitol. And from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the autopsy report from Brian Sicknick, a Capitol police officer who died on January 7th. The Post also requested fee waivers and seeks a declaration that the records they're seeking are subject to DC FOIA. They request that the court issue an injunction requiring the district to produce these records. On November 29th, the district moved to dismiss the Post's first claim regarding whether the request for the mayor's WhatsApp and email messages for mootness. The district argued that the Executive Office of the Mayor had determined there were no responsive WhatsApp messages and that the district already produced several dozen responsive emails with 2 redactions supported by exemption from disclosure under DC law. The district appeared not to contest that a WhatsApp message could be a public record for DC FOIA purposes. On December 13th, the Post responded that EOM's response was belated and paltry, that on the district's motion to dismiss to prevail, the district bears the burden of showing that it conducted an adequate search for records. On December 20th, the district replied that the declaration it filed demonstrates that the search and production were proper, that the Post failed to advance any meritorious arguments in opposition, the Post's implication that the district search inadequately was purely speculative, and the Post did not provide any evidence or argument to challenge the district's redaction decisions. There is a scheduling/status conference set for January 21st, 2022. The complaint, the district's partial motion to dismiss, and the parties supporting memoranda are uploaded to Dropbox for your review. The next case is the Judicial Watch lawsuit regarding autopsy records. On March 19th and May 24th, 2021, Judicial Watch filed complaints in Superior Court seeking specific performance and appealing denials of DC FOIA requests from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner and Metropolitan Police Department. The requested records relate to the breach of the Capitol on January 6, 2021. The initial scheduling conference remains set for February 4th, 2022. The parties are required to file a joint status report by January 19th, 2022. The district must also file answers in both cases. OOG staff will continue to monitor all of these cases and report as necessary. The next item is legislation. The first is District of Columbia legislation. On December 7th, 2021, the Council of the District of Columbia enacted Bill 24-0549, the Research Partnership Clarification Emergency Amendment Act of 2021. The emergency legislation was in response to concern raised by this office, that the District of Columbia Research Practice Partnership, an independent non-government entity, would schedule meetings for and assist with the drafting of bylaws for the advisory committee. The RPP had scheduled an advisory committee meeting for December 2nd, 2021 without providing notice of the meeting. The OOG's initial research is that the advisory committee is a public body subject to the OMA, that its meeting should be open to the public, and that it would be unlawful for the RPP to schedule advisory committee meetings and draft its bylaws. The Emergency Act provides that the RPP and its executive director may provide staff to support the advisory committee, including the scheduling of its meeting and drafting documents. It was signed into law by the mayor on December 22nd, 2021 as Act 24-0254. Act 24-0254 applies retroactively to December 2nd, 2021 and expires on March 2nd, 2022. The OOG continues to research to support its initial conclusion that the advisory committee is subject to the OMA. A copy of the act is in the Dropbox for your review.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So they went through all the trouble to do an emergency amendment act, and they didn't address whether or not it was a public body, which is what you needed them to address?
That's correct.
Was there a hearing? Was there discussion and debate on that?
No, there was not any on that issue. A few council members stated on the record that they did believe that the advisory committee was a public body.
But that was previous when they were doing the original legislation, right?
That was this legislation. It was just kind of in the course of the discussion.
Oh, okay. So it was the emergency legislation where they again reiterated that they thought it was a public body. Some of them.
Yes, some of them stated that on the record, but it was not included in this particular legislation. But it was.
So what's the plan? Are you guys going to issue an opinion?
Yes, I'll talk more about it with you all.
Sorry. Right, go ahead. Sorry to get you off track.
Oh, no problem. The next item is federal and national legislation. So first is the protection of federal judges' privacy, the Daniel Anderall Judicial Security and Privacy Act of 2021. On July 19th, 2020, an assailant targeted the home of a United States district judge. Impersonating a delivery driver, he availed himself of personally identifying information from the internet, knocked on the judge's door, and when the door opened, shot and killed the judge's son and wounded her husband. It was a case that most of you all are aware of. On September 24th, 2020 and October 13th, 2020, in the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives, respectively, members introduced the Daniel Anderall Judicial Security and Privacy Act of 2020. According to the Congressional Research Services summary, this bill addresses the security of federal judges and their immediate families. Federal agencies may not publicly post a protected individual's personally identifiable information, and upon receiving a written request, an agency must remove the PII that has already been posted within 72 hours. The bill also provides grants to state and local government to help prevent the release of PII. Additionally, the bill prevents data brokers from selling the PII of a protected individual. The companion measure was reintroduced in Congress on December 2nd, 2021. The State Senate Judiciary Committee considered its version and reported it out with an amendment in the nature of a substitute. The original and newest version of the measure are available in Dropbox. Lastly, other legislation. The Committee of the National Uniform Law Commission is drafting a Public Meetings During Emergency Act. The committee will next meet on April 22nd and April 23rd, 2022. OOG staff will continue to monitor this and other legislative activity. The last item in my report are administrative matters. Office relocation is the first one. I, along with Director Cooks and General Counsel Raj, met with the Department of General Services regarding BEGA's office relocation on December 17, 2021. We refined our plans with the DGS architect and narrowed the lease location to one space. DGS is negotiating with the lessors, and we will provide more information on that once the process is completed. DGS is also working with us to get temporary space for BEGA in our current location in the Berry Building to accommodate our new employees. The last item is BEGA reopening. The office planned to move to a regular schedule commencing on January 3rd, 2022, and to commence in-person services. However, due to the coronavirus surge, Director Cooks and I decided to move that date to February 28th, 2022. As you know, Mayor Bowser declared a public health emergency on December 20th, 2021. I encouraged OOG staff to telework during the surge in the COVID-19 infection rate, which commenced during the month of December 2021. Mayor Bowser also re-implemented the mask mandate, and face coverings are required now again to be worn indoors. This concludes the Office of Open Government's January 2022 report. Thank you, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Director Allen. Are there any questions for Director Allen?
I have just one question, Director Allen. Thank you for meeting with the MOLC. I've heard that there is quite an extensive backlog in terms of FOIA appeals being issued, and I think, in fact, in several of the court cases we've seen that have been brought related to FOIA, it's because they have exhausted their administrative remedies because the MOLC hasn't issued any decisions. Did they give you any insight as to how extensive that backlog is? Any statistics, anything like that?
They didn't give me any insight about the volume, but it was enough that they felt that they needed to bring in some additional help. So they have another attorney who they brought in from another agency, I guess, as a detail, that's their only job is to work on the backlog. So they assured me that they would be moving forward to get those completed, and they did ask me which ones we had received specific complaints about and assured me that they would get those done and make those a priority. So I did give them specific names of complainants, and they are working on those, but they did not give me an actual number. But I have heard from the Open Government Coalition and others that it is quite significant. But as you may know, they've had some issues over there with folks being out, which happens. We're in a health emergency, and folks have health issues. So, I was pleased to learn that that they had brought someone on for that reason. A good thing about government is we do have the ability to bring details and others over to do legal work when necessary. So I was glad to hear that they had been proactive about that, and they're working to get that resolved. And again, and another thing that they let me know is just to keep the lines of communication open, and that once we hear of cases or complaints, is to let them know immediately that they would address them.
That's terrific. I'm really glad that they're focused on tackling that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Allen? Okay. Then the next item on our agenda is the report from the Office of Government Ethics. We also appearing via WebEx as the Director of the Office of Government Ethics. I want to extend congratulations to Ms. Cooks on her appointment as the new Director. It was effective December 6, 2021. Director Cooks, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson Hutcheson. Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Director of Government Ethics, and I'm pleased to present the report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. First, updates on the status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur as a result of actions taken by the board during today's meeting. First, open investigations by status. We have 52 open investigations, one matter that is in negotiations for a grand total of 53 matters, excuse me. We have 4 undocketed matters. Next is pending state investigations by status. We have 24 matters that are closed pending collection, 4 matters closed pending DC Superior Court case, 4 matters stayed for OAG False Claims Act case, 8 matters stayed for OIG investigation, and 2 matters stayed for U.S. District Court cases, for a grand total of 42 matters that are pending stayed by status. For regulatory matters, we have 23 matters that are closed pending collection. Currently, we have 53 open investigations. Last month, we had 57. And in November, we had 66 matters. For the past 3 months, we have had 14 matters that are stayed. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 5 new matters open since the last board meeting. The investigative team resolved 9 preliminary investigations since the last board meeting. Next is training and outreach. First, professional development trainings attended by staff. On Monday, December 6th through Wednesday, December 8th, OGE attorneys and investigator Bradley attended the 2021 virtual conference by the Council on Governmental Ethics Laws, COGL. Supervisory attorney Stuart Mitchell and attorney advisor Echols attended Maximizing Direct Examination Testimony, Lay Witness, given by the Office of the Attorney General. Senior attorney Tran and I attended an anti-corruption enforcement webinar by the state's attorneys generals presented by the DC Bar. Administrative Officer Tyrell Dow completed PeopleSoft Core HR, PeopleSoft Position Management, and PeopleSoft Job Creation Codes for independent agencies. Program Specialist Stan Kosick took Project Management Introduction. Auditor Emmanuel Tajuba completed the following trainings: writing effective emails and instant messages, expert insights on managing a culturally diverse team, resolving workplace conflict, ethics and project management, and becoming more professional through business etiquette. Finally, members of OGE completed the annual mandatory cybersecurity training offered by the Office of the Chief Technology Officer. For trainings conducted by staff, since the last board meeting, OGE attorneys conducted 4 ethics trainings, which included the monthly ethics training for the Department of Housing and Consumer Development, and 2 Hatch Act trainings. On December 8th and December 21st, attorney advisor Echols and program specialist Kozik offered lobbyist trainings entitled Lobbyist Code and Policy Review, LRR e-file training. Of the lobbyists and clients who were invited, 42 attended the December 8th session and 25 attended the December 21st session. This was the first of what will be ongoing trainings for the lobbyist community. We did not host an ethics counselor virtual brown bag for the month of December. However, the next session is scheduled for Monday, December 31st. 61 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft. Next is advisory opinions and advice. For informal advice, OGE legal staff provided advice for approximately 20 ethics inquiries, which is 14 less than the 34 reported at the December meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding the lobbyist and FDS e-filing systems. OGE has not drafted any advisory opinions since the last board meeting. Next is the 2021 Annual Best Practices Report. Per DC Official Code Section 1-1162.06.02B, on December 31st, 2021, BEGA submitted its annual best practices report to the mayor and each member of the council. The report highlights the functional achievements of both OOG and OGE from fiscal year 2019 until December of this fiscal year. The report sets forth ethics recommendations for legislative enactment of a comprehensive code of conduct. It suggests strengthening the outside employment rules to require written approval prior to engaging in outside employment, and recommends that the council consider incorporating anti-discrimination provisions within the comprehensive code of conduct. Next is legislation updates. On October 27, 2021, the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety held its virtual public hearing on the Pro Bono Legal Representation Expansion Amendment Act of 2021, Bill 24-0298. The bill is an amendment to Section 223 of the Ethics Act, which will allow employees to provide pro bono legal representation to before district courts and federal courts and district and federal agencies. The committee is preparing the bill for markup at the next hearing. Next is OGE administrative matters. First, OGE staffing. OGE extended an offer of employment to fill one of the attorney advisor vacancies. The offer was accepted by Ms. Millicent Jones, who will begin working on January 17th. OGE is working with the Department of Human Resources to post vacancy announcements for a human resources specialist and a program support assistant. Next is the budget. On November 4th, 2021, Director Allen and I submitted BEGA's 2023 budget submission to the Office of the City Administrator. The submission included budget enhancement requests for office relocation, legal fellows, a supervisory investigator, a public information officer, and OOG reclassifications. There are no updates on the budget requests at this time. Next is financial disclosure statement, FDS. The FDS team is preparing for the 2021 filing season by drafting letters to agency directors and ethics counselors and confirming agency contacts. On December 29th, the Office of Contracting and Procurement approved the contract with Abstract Evolutions for Phase 3 of the e-filing system upgrades. The upgrades will improve reporting for advisory neighborhood commissioners, require an e-signature for all filers, and increase editing controls for OGE staff. The FDS team continues to work on the Financial Disclosure Standard Operating Procedure Manual. Auditor Tajuba completed an audit of checks collected for fiscal year 2021 and sent questions to the Office of the Chief Financial Officer. He also completed a calendar review for completed a calendar year 2020 CFDS and PFDS completeness and accuracy audit. An audit of confidential filers and a conflict of interest audit. He discussed his findings with the FDS team, and enforcement and collection activities continue. Next is lobbyist registration and reporting, LRR. The LRR team identified 3 enforcement issues, which included 2 late renewals and 1 late activity report. Enforcement letters have been prepared for these 3 occurrences. Additionally, Auditor Tajuba found discrepancies where it appeared a few entities filed activity reports without having filed annual registration reports. Upon review of the e-file system, it was discovered that entities did indeed file timely renewals, but the e-file system did not report as such. Program Specialist Kozik is working with Octo to correct this situation. On December 29th, a reminder notice was sent to 343 registrants to file their calendar year 2022 renewal registrations and their 2021 quarter 4 activity reports by January 18th, 2022. Typically, the due date would be January 15th. However, since January 15th falls on a Saturday and the following Monday is January 17th, which is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, OGE extended the deadline to January 18th. And last is formal investigations. We have one formal public investigation, which is 22-0002F, Henry Neil Albert. This matter is a formal investigation pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.12b and is based on allegations that the respondent, former chairperson of the DC Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, voted to award contracts to Moya Design Partners, Moya Design, and failed to disclose a close personal relationship with the owner of Moya Design. OGE is continuing its efforts to investigate this matter by gathering evidence and interviewing witnesses. Thank you, and this concludes the Office of Government Ethics January 6, 2022 report.
Thank you, Director Cooks. Are there any questions for Director Cooks?
I just have one very minor question, just to make sure I heard it correctly. The brown bag lunch you mentioned, who's sort of what's the target audience for that? And is the next date January 31st? Because I think I heard December 31st, but just if you could clarify.
So the brown bag sessions are monthly sessions that we hold for agency ethics counselors. During those sessions, we talk about different ethics topics. The topic may be something that's that we've seen questions about, or maybe a seasonal topic such as gifts in November and December, Hatch Act right now because we're in a political season. But the target audience is basically agency ethics counselors because we reinforce the ethics rules to them. We have open discussion with them about things that they're seeing within their agency, and we hold them on the last Monday of each month. So we didn't have one in December because a lot of people were out for the Christmas and New Year's holiday. So the next one is January 31st, which is the last Monday of this month.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
I just have two comments, no questions. First, thank you for attending the Anti-Corruption Manual, CLE at the DC Bar. It's one of a series that are going to be presented there. Because as you know, there's a lot of stuff in that anti-corruption manual, and it's really been well received, not just for that audience, but others across the country, especially in the AG's offices. And second, I just want to commend you on the best practices report. I think it looks really good this year, both you and Director Allen. I think your respective parts are well written, well thought out, and I hope are taken seriously by our legislative and executive branches of the government. So nice work.
Thank you. And I also want to commend Senior Attorney Lynn Tran. She did most of the heavy lifting for the BPR. So we're very, very happy about that, and congrats to her as well.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Cooks? The next item on our agenda is public comments. The public was invited to submit comments in writing by 11 a.m. today, and no public comments were submitted by that time. The next item is executive session. The next is the closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B2. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll offer the motion that we enter into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the board enter into executive session. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay. Any opposition? Hearing none, board members, please log out of this session and log into the WebEx for the executive session. Once the executive session ends, we will return to this WebEx to report out any matters decided, to finish any other business, and to adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Are you all able to hear me?
I can hear.
Okay, great. Oh, I need some feedback there because I'm having problems this morning. The time is now 1:42 p.m. And while we were in executive session, the board approved a negotiated disposition in a matter designated 21-0070-P in Ray T. Brooks. Okay. There being no other business, this concludes the meeting of the DC Board of Ethics and Government Accountability, and our next meeting will be held remotely via WebEx on February 3rd, 2022 at noon. Okay? Thank you, everyone, for attending, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Month.